The girl just glanced at the drifting bucket and immediately thought of a way to survive. They only needed to collect the buckets to make a lifeboat and use it to avoid drowning. While everyone was frantically collecting plastic buckets, they were suddenly shocked by what they saw. A huge plastic bucket was floating over as if heaven didn't want them to die. So everyone quickly climbed into the plastic bucket. However, when it was Old Bai's turn, he selflessly left the hope of survival to others. Finally, he tightly screwed the lid from the outside, refusing to open it no matter how much the people inside shouted. But then something terrifying happened. A surge of groundwater suddenly broke through the pipes and flooded in. As the water kept pouring in, Old Bai quickly sank. Meanwhile, the people inside the plastic bucket were safe and sound. But just then, a huge floating structure suddenly fell, landing right on top of the bucket. The bucket, which was originally floating up, was pressed down by the structure and began to sink. Fortunately, as the pressure increased, the bucket eventually bypassed the structure and floated back up. However, before they could celebrate, the bucket got tightly entangled in some wires. At the critical moment, everyone used all their strength to hit the bucket. Luckily, their combined strength was enough to break free, and the bucket continued to rise. But due to the rapid ascent, the bucket unexpectedly hit a steel pipe, creating a hole. In a life-or-death moment, they tried to push the pipe away with all their might, but their combined strength couldn't move it at all. Just then, they heard a man's voice from above. It was Old Bai, who was good at swimming, coming to their rescue. With continuous kicks, he finally separated the pipe from the bucket. But now, a lot of water was flowing in through the hole, and the people inside couldn't stop it. Fortunately, a young man managed to cover the hole with his arm. At this moment, Old Bai desperately tried to grab the bucket, but its buoyancy was too strong. Just when it seemed like the kind man would lose his chance at happiness, fate intervened. A wire behind the bucket wrapped around his leg. In a second, the bucket shot up to the surface and they finally floated to safety. They thought the crisis was over, but the strong water pressure caused the bucket to break a big hole. Soon, a lot of water started flooding into the bucket. In this life-or-death moment, Ching Ching once again showed her unique charm, and Old Wang lifted his son high above his head. At this moment, the lid of the bucket was suddenly opened from above. It was Old Bai, once again appearing like a ray of light at the most critical moment. At the same time, the rescue team outside also spotted them, and quickly arranged for a crane to carry out an emergency rescue. In the end, everyone was successfully rescued. With this experience, their friendship will undoubtedly become even more precious.